So, welcome to this podcast, talking a little bit about Agile Change Agent, which is a new certification from the APMG. It's a 2-day training course designed really around practical ability in Agile and change, so change management, and it supports effective transformation and change initiatives in organisations. I'm talking today with John Humphries. John and I have worked together for many, many years, and John is certainly an expert and an established trainer in both Agile and change management. So this is an ideal subject to run through with John and talk a bit more about it. John, tell us a bit about your change management and Agile experience, if you can.
Yeah, sure, Martin. So much of my change management experience has been involved in consulting exercises, in planning, in running workshops, and that's in both public and private healthcare environments.
Okay.
Now, my Agile project experience was really founded in systems development. This was even before the word Agile was invented, in fact, but more lately in product translation projects, where the time to market is a key driver there. So Agile lends itself very well to those projects. Now, as an instructor in those subjects, it's a real pleasure to work with individuals in organizations who are looking to further their capabilities in these areas. The change management and Agile courses contain a vast amount of detail, but I always allow some time for discussion about how the concepts that we teach in the class can be applied to the students' real-world situations. The Agile Change Agent course is rather different in that it doesn't dwell on the theory at all, but it gets straight down to the nuts and bolts, showing in a practical, fun way how to get things done.
Okay, yeah, that sounds really good. So tell me a bit about the Agile Change Agent course itself, John, if you can.
Yeah, sure. Well, the course is based on the book Agile Change Management, and it's a practical framework for successful change planning and implementation. The book itself provides an entry-level access to the subjects of change management and Agile management, and it does begin with a little bit of theory, an explanation of Agile concepts, which give those people involved in making change happen in their particular part of the business a link between their own experience of continuous iterative change and some of the ideas behind Agile. It's typically a 2-day training course with a certification, and it's designed to bridge the gap between formal theories, models, and techniques in Agile project management and change management.
Okay, that's really good. With the exam certification, it's fairly straightforward, isn't it? I understand it's multiple choice, 50 questions, and there's a 50% pass mark, so they reckon you really want to get 25 as a minimum number of questions. I think the time for this is 40 minutes, and it's very much a closed book exam. That sound correct to you?
Yeah, that's right. And the exam has been designed less on being a memory test, and it's a real test of your practical learnings from the class. So it's a really nice exam as well. And people who've been engaged in the class should have no trouble in getting through the certification.
So Agile's a fast-growing market, as in change management, and I think what's going on around us now means there's going to be an awful lot of change. So what sort of people would benefit by attending the Agile Change Agent course, John?
There's 2 key groups, really, Martin. It should appeal as a follow-on course for those who already have the Agile project management and change management qualifications, but it also acts as an entry point for those who need the capabilities but haven't studied the subjects in depth. Now, the impact of change goes well beyond those directly involved in leading change and making it happen. So really, it's going to be beneficial to everyone who wishes to gain a better appreciation of change, delivering it in an Agile way.
Well, in terms of your background, you've done a lot of Agile consulting training, a lot of change management. What is it you like particularly about the Agile Change Agent course?
An aspect of the Agile Change Agent course that I really like is their use of everyday language. And when necessary, new terms that are explained in a very friendly and accessible way. And I think that can help reduce and minimize the use of what's sometimes seen as obscure and almost frightening language. So we get these words like transformation, stakeholder engagement, and empowerment. And that has different meanings to different people. Now, having said that, even the term Agile Change Agent can conjure up various images of what such a role might entail. But essentially, the job of the person in the Agile Change Agent role, it's essentially to be the local representative of business change. Now, that means understanding the reasons behind the change. So what are the business reasons for wanting to change the way things are at the moment? So what are the benefits or advantages of the change? And how is it going to assist people in their particular work area? So the change agent will do a lot of that local assistance, training, and explaining why changes could bring improvement to ways of working. One of the nice things about the course as well, it lays out a roadmap or a life cycle model that is going to help the participants in the course think through how they're going to manage the changes that emerge over time and how they're going to be affected by this. And they can do that without having to become an expert in either change management or Agile.
Okay, so I'm in an organisation that is Agile in its ways. It's going through change. I've now done the change agent course. What do I bring back to the real world? What do I come away with that I can use?
So in your role as an Agile change agent, part of what you're going to be doing is taking on board the concerns, the questions raised, and suggestions from your colleagues in your work area. And then it's likely that you would be working with other change leaders and managers in your organization to help those people relate what's happening in your local area to the wider initiative. And that means that changes in the immediate workplace can be made in a more meaningful way, as there's going to be a better understanding of issues facing staff.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Do you find, having looked at this course from your knowledge and background of other courses, is it a very theoretical course, for example?
It touches very lightly on the theory, because we need some of the theory behind change and Agile to really kind of get us going, to understand where we're coming from. Now, on the APMG courses on Agile Project Management and Change Management, it really goes deeply into roles and responsibilities, processes and techniques. And the APMG Change Management course in particular references volumes of applicable academic research. Now, all of that is very useful, and there's an amount of practical work on those courses. But where I really appreciate the design of the Agile Change Agent course, it gives a balanced approach covering the basic theory of business change and Agile. But most of the course is highly interactive, it's very practical, and it's going to focus on benefits, planning, and how we work with people from across the business in order to deliver change.
Okay, that sounds my sort of course. So we understand the theory, but it's a very practical course, a very practical course in the way that you do it, and very hands-on, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. And the whole idea behind the design of the course is to actually kind of see what's going on, to have a go at doing it, and in doing so, learn. So this see, do, learn idea permeates throughout the course. And the emphasis is on building your own local capability, and there's loads of pre-prepared checklists and questionnaires and models offered on the course that can be tailored to your particular situation and context. And the course is packed with exercises, with individual work, group work, and there's a ready-made case study that can be followed. However, if participants are bringing their own change situations to the class, you can follow through with exercises on that as well. So there's real benefit for students.
So very practical style of course. So when you do the course, bearing in mind it's very practical, what kind of things will people do? How will they work together? What are the sort of teamwork that they do?
Yeah, and participants are really going to want to know that before they turn up on this course. So the idea is they're going to work together, building a shared understanding of the reasons for change. So that is why it's actually necessary to do something different than the way we're doing it at the moment. And on the course, they're going to create an overall plan for the way ahead. So the analogy we use for that is a roadmap. Effectively, it's the life cycle of the change. Participants are going to consider who needs to be informed of the change and how those people might be involved and how they might be affected. So it's a lot about setting expectations. Participants then, having prepared that groundwork, are going to talk about how they could apply the plan in their back in their workplaces and how they can start working according to the plan and see the fruits of their labours emerging. So they're going to walk through step by step through the plan, creating what we call the change deliverables and the learning to deal with the issues that real life throws at them. They're also going to learn about how to work better with other interested parties so they can understand the priorities, and those other interested parties can see the value of your achievements, which will give them a great spur to go on from an individual, from a team, and over an organizational basis.
Yeah, that sounds really good. So within what you do in the course, there's a lot of people-centered activity, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. And we need to work with and support people to be able to get things done. The part of the course is about developing trust and rapport with people that we need to work with and interact with so we can get a better appreciation of our own workplace culture, the systems that we use, and the different interactions between staff. And that's going to help the Agile Change Agent in the way that they approach their work and that they can more safely introduce their ideas in a very supportive way.
Okay, that sounds really good. So I've done the course. What happens at the end of the course?
Yeah, so it kind of builds up kind of quite nicely to a review of all of the topics that have been covered, and there'll be a question and answer session to clarify anything that participants want to go over again, so they can reflect on what they've learned and consolidate their learnings, and that'll then be followed by, as you mentioned earlier, a short examination. So what that means, in addition to all of that practical experience that we gain on the course, there's also a formal APMG Agile Change Agent qualification that we'll receive at the end.
Excellent. So when participants have completed the course and returned to work, what then?
Yeah, now typically when participants return to their workplace following a training class, they're effervescent, they're bubbling over with enthusiasm for trying out their new ideas. And one of the major challenges they face then is getting acceptance from their colleagues and managers, who would sometimes say, "Oh yeah, sounds like you've just been on a training course." All right, but building on what they've learned about relationships and the work environment, those people who've been on the course should be able to get a broader sense of individuals and the groups that they work with, and how that change could fit in with or affect existing work teams and existing practices, and about making it work with what you've got available within your organization, rather than trying to impose some of these new ideas onto the situation that you find yourself back in.
That's excellent. It's really good. It's helped me have a really good understanding of the course now and what you get to attending and what you take away from it. Just as a final thought, John, do you have any takeaway thoughts for the listeners?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly. It's a really fun, practical, and affordable short course for learning about the fundamentals of Agile and change management, and learning how to apply that learning to real world situations. Not only are you going to get a certification, but a great course manual, which is written by a thought leader in change management, and you're going to get lots of useful checklists and questionnaires and models that you can tailor to your own change initiatives. I said earlier, what appeals to me most, though, is presented using everyday language, which really means it's accessible to a very wide audience. And that in turn means that more people are likely to get it and not be turned off by some of the jargon-laden expressions which often accompany our change initiatives. So I think it's a real kind of great thing to do.
It's nice to see a course that's less focused on the theories of change. It sounds like it's very hands-on. It's got a lot of opportunities. You mentioned see, do, learn, and it's packed with lots of exercises and practical tool tips and advice. So it sounds a good all-round course. So John, thank you very much for your time, and look forward to catching up another day.
Yeah, thank you very much, Martin.